Hi students, how are you? So in last class we have studied about the different categories of microorganisms. We saw that they are classified as bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoans, worms and all. Okay, so why we classify them in different groups? Because the features or characteristics of each group is different from the characteristics of another group. So the treatment given for one group is different from the treatment given for another group. So since treatments are different, we have classified them into different groups. For example, all viruses live inside host cells. If they are outside, they are inactive. They won't show any of the features of a living thing. But when they enter into the cell of a host, they will use that cell machinery for their life processes and they will begin to divide very fast. So they are on the borderline of living and non-living. When they are inside the host cell, they will be active and they will look like living things. But when they are outside the host cells, they don't show any of the features of a living thing. So all viruses have some features like this. But when we look at bacteria, we can see that all bacteria are closely related to each other. Most of them show same features, but they are different from the viruses. This means that many important life processes are similar in bacteria group, but they are not shared with virus group or not shared with fungi. Fungi have some other features that is different from the features of bacteria. So each group have some common features. Okay. Since many life processes in all bacteria are similar, a drug that blocks one of these life processes in one member of the group will be effective against many other members of the group. So if we are using any one drug that to kill any one type of bacteria, the same drug will be effective against some other kind of bacteria that cause some other diseases also, because all types of bacteria, most of their life processes are same. Okay, so but the same drug will not work against a microbe belonging to a different group like a virus or fungi or protozoa or worms. So a drug that will be effective against one bacteria will be effective against some other bacteria also, but it will not be effective against microorganisms that belong to some other groups like virus, protozoa, fungus, etc. Okay, is it clear? So a drug that is effective against one fungus will be effective against some other fungus also, but it won't be effective against bacteria or viruses. So each group has some common features. So what that same drug will be effective against different types that belong to the same group. So for example, we can think about antibiotics. So which is the first antibiotic? That's penicillin. Who discovered it? Alexander Fleming discovered it. And you know, antibiotics kill or stop the growth of the disease-causing microorganisms. Usually, they are effective against bacterial infections. So, these antibiotics commonly block the biochemical pathways that is important for bacteria. So, during their life, there will be so many biochemical pathways will be taking place inside their body. So when we are eating antibiotics, these antibiotics will make a block in the pathways of that is important in the body of bacteria. So we know that bacteria have cell wall to protect themselves. So the function of the antibiotic penicillin is that it blocks the bacterial process that build the cell wall. So when we are eating penicillin, when we are taking in penicillin, antibiotic penicillin, what happens? It will block the pathway that is important for building the cell wall. So what happened? Bacteria won't be, they will be increasing in number, dividing and increasing in number, but they won't be able to build their cell wall, and without cell wall they can't live and they will die. So that is the function of the antibiotic penicillin. It will block the pathway for building the cell wall. So since there is a block, the bacteria are not able to build their cell wall. Okay. So as a result, the growing bacteria become unable to make cell walls and they will die. So this antibiotic kill the bacteria. And we know that human cells don't have cell wall. We have only cell membrane. So what happens if we are eating penicillin antibiotic? It won't be effective against our cell because our cell don't have cell wall. So even if you take that antibiotic, it won't create any problem in our body also. And this antibiotic penicillin will have this effect on any other bacteria that use such process for making cell walls. So different bacteria may be causing different diseases, but penicillin can act on all these bacteria since they have the same life process. All bacteria produce water, build cell wall. So if you are using penicillin, it will be effective against all types of bacteria also. So many antibiotics work against many kinds of bacteria since they have the same life. But what about viruses? Viruses usually do not have many life processes. When they are outside the body of the host cell, we know that they are inactive. They don't show any of the features of a living thing. So no life process is taking place in their body. And when they enter inside the body of a host cell, they are using the machinery of the host cell. So they don't have many life process. And what is the function of antibiotics? Antibiotics are making a block in the biochemical pathways of living things. And since viruses don't have many biochemical pathways, antibiotics do not work against viral infections. So antibiotics is not effective against viral infections because viruses do not have many biochemical pathways. Okay, so since viruses have only few biochemical mechanisms of their own, making antiviral medicines is harder than making antibacterial medicines. Is it clear? So in bacteria, there are many life processes. So using antibiotics, we can block their pathways so that they can't live, they will die. But in viruses, they don't have many biochemical pathways. They don't have many life processes in their body. So we can't block their pathways by using antibiotics. So making antiviral medicines is very difficult or harder than making antibacterial medicines. You know, common cold is caused by virus. So if we have common cold, taking antibiotics, is it effective? Yes or no? If we have a common cold, taking antibiotics does not reduce the severity or the duration of the disease because it is caused by a virus, and we know that antibiotics are not effective against virus. But if we also get a bacterial infection along with the viral cold, then taking antibiotics will help us. That is why doctors sometimes give antibiotics, because along with that viral infection, if there is a bacterial infection also, that antibiotics will act against that bacteria, but it won't act against the virus that causes common cold. Okay. Common cold virus is a mild virus, so it will be over within 3 or 5 days. But sometimes bacteria can infect the ears or sinuses during this viral infection, and this can be treated by using some antibiotics. Otherwise, no problem, it will be over within few days. And in your textbook, in page number 81, you can see the pictures of so many microorganisms. And first figure 13.1a, you can see it is the picture of a SARS virus. And SARS full form means severe acute respiratory syndrome. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is the disease, and it is a respiratory disease caused by this SARS coronavirus. Okay, then in figure 13.1b, it is the picture of a bacteria called Staphylococci. Okay, and it is a bacteria which cause acne. Then 13.1c, it is the picture of a protozoa called trypanosoma. Trypanosoma, and it causes the disease sleeping sickness which affects our brain. Then 13.1d, it is the picture of a protozoa called Leishmania. And this Leishmania causes the disease called Kala Azar, or it is called as black fever, or it is called as Leishmaniasis. Then in 13.1e, you can see it is the picture of an adult roundworm. And this roundworm, it is a parasite in our small intestine. So it is a parasite in our intestine. Okay. So now we saw the pictures of so many microorganisms that causes some diseases in our body. So in this today we have seen that the microorganisms are classified in different categories, because the life process of each category is different from the life process of other category. So the treatment for one category is different from the treatment of other category. That is why we have classified them in different groups. So the medicine or drug that is effective against one member in a group is effective against other members also in the same group, but it is not effective against members in the other group. And making antibacterial, antiviral medicines is harder than making antibacterial medicines, because viruses don't have many life processes. Okay, clear? Bye.